I I hope, and I don't ever picture this ever happening to me, but I hope that if I am ever in a time of adversity, and hopefully never on the scope and the scale of Job, but if I'm ever going through something hard, I pray that I will never have to say, "Where are my friends when I need them?" So when I'm standing in front of my friends, I know that's not going to be true. I know that's not going to happen. But it always makes me sad a bit when people are without friends or without that help or without someone there to love them. In my ministry, I spend a lot of time in the hospitals. And one of the things that always just bothers me are the people that I see there that have no one there with them. They're in the emergency room, they're by themselves, they're in their hospital room. And I know Charles and I, we try to notice those things and greet people in the other bed that doesn't have someone there to love on them and pray with them and things like that. But very, very sad thing when anyone can wonder, where are my friends? I need them now, and they're not there. Now, the account that we've been going through, the narrative, the story about the book of Job, about his life and about his loss, about the adversity and the pain that he was going through, but also eventually, hopefully, that he will be restored to his wealth, restored to his health, and also restored to the friends and the family that didn't seem to give him the support that he needed. But in all of this, he learned something about faith. And Charles said something important, that without taking anything away from you, my friends, the one that we can always count on, that never fails, that is always there, is who? It is the Father, it is the Son, and it is the Spirit. The totality of the person of God. And we can always count on that. And that's helpful. I know it's helpful for Susan, who we prayed for this morning, and also for Jeff, who both, as you know, just so weary of the struggle, absolutely worn out of the struggle. But they know that the Father and the Son and the Spirit are with them. Now, into the life of Job now. One of the most important aspects of Job's story is this very weird relationship that he has with his friends. Now, we don't get it as much as we would as if we were Semitic people, if we were people of the Middle East, because this was the exact time, or this is the exact type of conversations that they have, and it's a very polite but still with an edge type of discussions that they have when they talk about God, when they talk about theology. There's accusations that are leveled, then there's the defending yourself, and it's kind of a back and forth thing, and that's exactly what we see with Job and his three friends. But the thing that we have discovered in our study so far is that they were so wrong about Job, but they were also right in some things about Job as well. They were also completely, absolutely wrong about God, God's motives, God's work, what God does in situations like Job found himself in all the trouble and with all the pain that he was going through. So they were wrong about God. They were wrong about God punishing people for sins or for mistakes that they've made in terrible physical ways while they live in the flesh. But that was just what Job had to deal with. We have to deal with certain things when we live with people. But overall, it's very safe to say Job needed better friends. He needed better friends. Now that's where I want to stop and just ask you to, in this lesson, we're talking about not just Job, we're going to talk about us and about what kind of friends are we. I think I feel safe in saying that for all of us, in one way or another, we can always be better friends. That we can always notice more. That we can always be aware of our surroundings, aware of our people, aware of needs, reading the bulletin, looking at the prayer list. I mean, and seeing the emails and just the word of mouth of the people that are just in this family, and take care of them. Those that are sick, those that have wandered away from God, wandered away from God's family, those who have grief, those who are hurting, who suffer terrible diseases, or who are just down and just low. Good friends look after one another. This is where we have to go with a lesson like this, and I think it'll be good for all of us, me especially. Now, the great lessons that we can learn from Job and Eliphaz and Bildad and Zophar, the great lessons that we need to learn are lessons from their lives, and that's what I want us to see tonight. So what we're going to do, instead of just a portion of Scripture, I'm going to give you some pieces, like a little puzzle, and we're going to put together a montage, if you will, of how Job felt when he looked around and said, "Where are my friends?" Or when he was looking them in their face and saying, "Where are my friends?" That was kind of a jab at them, I think. So let's look at the Job friend references. There are quite a few. Job chapter 2, verse 11, please. Job chapter 2, verse 11. We'll look at verse 11 through 13. Now, the first thing to see when we look at the friend passages or friends passages in the book of Job, the first thing that we see is that Job's three friends started off so well. They did the right things, and they said the right things. They did, if you can look at just these 11, 12, 13, look at these three verses here, you would say that these people probably went through a Lifeline chaplaincy seminar. I mean, they nailed it. They did it right. So as we look at this, this is the way we are helpful to people that are really hurting. When Job's three friends, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their homes and met each other by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. What did they do? They heard their friend was really hurting, the tragedies that came through. They got together first, them. And they made their plan. We need to get together, we're going to go together, and we are going to look after our friend Job. Very smart. They were working together. They nailed it. That is how we do this, or how we must do this. Do you realize that we can be better partners in this? We need to work together in this, folks. 2 by 2, 3 by 3, going together as a husband and wife, or going together as a couple of friends to go visit people and see people, meet with people, help people, serve people, and you're doing it together. It's more pleasant for the people doing the work, but it's also a blessing to the person who is receiving. So in this, we have to give them the thumbs up. They were doing very well, or that was their intent. So when they saw him, Job, saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud and tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. They felt compassion and sympathy. I mean, when they saw Job in the terrible state, sores from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, meaning covered, he was unrecognizable. Unrecognizable. And they wept. And they threw dirt in the air. They did what people of that era did. They showed a physical response, emotional, over-the-top response to show, we feel for you. Now, this was expected, and they acted in the way of the day, and they did what they needed to. Now it says, then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and nights. They were not in a hurry. They didn't think that what they had to do. Now, you can ask Charles, when we got multiple visits, man, we're in and out. Let's go. We got to get going. Sometimes I feel like, man, I think we're rushing. But, You know, you're seeing a lot of people. Some people won't be rushed. You know, sometimes you have to sit down because they do more talking than you do, and that's okay. But the point is, these men right here, the situation was serious. So there was no time restraints. We're going to stay with our friend as long as it takes. He needs this. And they stayed there for a week there on the ground with Job in pain and Job in mourning. Then it says this, no one said a word to him. No one said a word. Now, for most folks, that's the hardest part. We think, I got to say something. And we think that there's magic in the words that you know, sometimes just your presence is there, that you're just you being there. Some people can't talk. I was there, one of our dear brothers here, Jeff Osborne, has cancer. We've been praying for Jeff, and the cancer is in his throat. And so right now, with the treatments, he is so torn up. He has to just whisper, and he talks like this. And I have to be careful not to ask him questions that he has to start answering. If he wants to talk and it hurts him, I know he can say whatever he wants to say, and I'll listen as long as he wants me to. But, you know, talking really isn't what he needs. We sat on the bench while Deb went and got the car. We sat on the bench and just talked about the weather and about some treatments, and then not anything after that while Debbie came up. And it was pleasant. And he hugged me and said, thank you. The point is this. His friends just needed to be there, and Job just needed his friends. So at this point of learning about friendship, this is right. This is what we model. This is what our elders need, our ministers need, our friendship groups, our life groups, and the visitation teams. This is what works right here. But then the story doesn't stop there. It doesn't, you know, I kind of wish it did in that regard, but it goes on. And then, because after 7 days, they did something apparently they ought not to have done. They opened their mouths. And when they opened their mouths, it wasn't encouragement. It wasn't godly. It wasn't pleasant. It was accusations. It was demeaning. And it was wrong. What were they saying? Basically, Job, I see that you're in hard times, and I know that you're hurting, but you've got to know, and we know too, that God's doing this, and because you are a sinner, this is why this is happening. Overall, that's the message that we keep hearing. And so Job then had to defend himself. He had no energy even to get up or move, but he had to use that energy to defend himself. And remember, Job was not right in everything he was saying as well. But you can see that this was not going to be helpful. This is not how friends treat each other. You ever gone to someone's house to help them? And maybe what the situation they're in is their fault. Maybe it's because of their sin. Maybe it's because they've done something dumb. Maybe they're doing something or living some way that's hurting their body or their life or even their marriage or their friendship or whatever. There's a time to address those things. But there's first a time to love and to encourage and to pray and to be friends. Friends should be able to talk about anything. And we're going to see those scriptures. But at this point, this is not what Job needs. And so these men erred when they did this. So what they did with their accusations, they were hurting an already hurting man. They were not building him up. They were not sympathetic at all. They were not encouraging at all. And they drove this hurting man to the brink of loneliness and despair. And so much frustration comes out in the voice of Job. Now listen, I want you to listen. I'm going to go too quickly for you to follow. Just listen to these. This is what Job said about his friends. A despairing man should have the devotion of his friends, even though he forsakes the fear of the Almighty. Even if I'm not right with God, I need you as my friend. No, I'm sorry, I can't be your friend anymore unless you're faithful. Well, tell me if that works. That'll bring people back to their senses and back to the Lord, right? Then Job said, I have become a laughing stock to my friends. Job 12:4. I have become a laughing stock to my friends. Job 17:5. If a man denounces his friends for reward, the eyes of his children will fail. 19:14. My kinsmen have gone away. My friends have forgotten me. 19:19. All my intimate friends detest me. Those I love have turned against me. 19:21. Have pity on me, my friends. Have pity, for the hand of God has struck me. See how he's speaking to his friends? Or things that are said about friends in the conversations? Because there is no love, there is no help, there is no trying to, with words and with presence, to try to not fix and come to a theological agreement on a great theological debate of the day that was still going on in the day of Jesus. That if you're born blind, your parents were sinners. And Jesus had to correct his disciples. Remember? That's not the way God operates. So when we start looking at the way this friendship was unfolding in front of our eyes here, Eliphaz and Bildad and Zophar, the sad thing is they wasted such a wonderful opportunity to do some good, to build him up, to keep him going. Can you imagine if after the dirt throwing and the ashes and the sitting down, if the first words out of their mouth, instead of theological debate, was praying to the God of heaven? You see, that's where it didn't go. I think it's stark. I think it's so clear. They wasted the opportunity to be a real help for a friend that was in need. I expect that if Bildad or Zophar or Eliphaz were in the same condition, I expect they would have been just as disappointed in friends as Job was. If they were in his shoes, if they were going through the same thing, that they would be disappointed too. Now, with Job in mind, with those words in mind, what does the Bible teach? Not all, but just a few things, important things, that the Bible teaches about not just friendship, but true friendship, trustworthy friendship, the kind of friends that you and I need to be for this family, for our families at home, for people that we are close to, that we love, that real good, true type of friendship. What does the Bible teach? First of all, Jesus gives us the definition of the truest kind of friend there can ever be. And it's based on, no surprise, on himself. Based on him, the way he sees it, and the way that he lives it. Jesus gives the definition. John chapter 15, verse 13. John chapter 15, verse 13. Jesus said, this was the night that he was betrayed, by the way. If you want the setting, this is in the upper room. This is after the supper, the Last Supper, last Passover. Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. You are my friends. If you do what I command, I no longer call you servants, because the servant doesn't know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from the Father I have made known to you. Now, how is this applicable to us in our lives? That sounds very Son of God-ish, if you will. I mean, that sounds like something that only he could say and mean. But the parts of this are for us and our friendship and our relationships. I want you to notice that a great friend will lay their life down for you, meaning, I love you so much, I will do anything for you. We need to be that kind of friends. Now listen, I know that there are different levels of friendship. We're closer to some than we are to others. There are people that we're closer to, that we don't love them necessarily more than anybody else, but it's just, that's the way that life is. But as Christians and part of a family, We need to see that there is no one person more important in the totality of our life more than anybody else. We need to be that true friend that will do whatever it takes to be that friend. So Jesus says, even if it's laying down your life. Now there's something else in this that I thought was pretty nice. Did you notice that a great friend will not just lay down their life, a great friend will make the Father known to you? That's what a great friend will do. A great friend will talk to you about the Father. Make Him known. Now you know where I'm going with this, right? I got to go there. This is how we become true friends. I love you enough to have the hard conversation about your life and about your eternity. I love you enough that I want to share with you the most important thing to me, and which is the most important thing in life. That is eternal life given by God through Jesus Christ. And so if we say that we're friends, we as Jesus will, I'll die for you, but I'll also talk to you about the Father and make Him known. Now that says something about friends right there. Both those are challenging, aren't they? Aren't both those hard? You think that one would be the hardest, dying or being willing to die for somebody. But man, why is it you feel like you're gonna die when you talk to people about Jesus or talk to people about God? I don't know why, it's just the way. Now, here's the truth about this and why this should give us good lessons. Noticing the things that we notice about John 15. Very sad that when Jesus needed these men that He talked to, just an hour or so later, they were nowhere. He asked them to stay up. Hey, please stay up and pray with me. Just pray with me. That's all I need. I need you to be here with me and pray. Stay awake, keep watch, and pray while I go over there and be by myself for a while. What did Jesus want? He wanted just to know that His friends were nearby, there. What did they do? Their eyes were heavy, their spirit was willing, their flesh was weak, Jesus said. What did they do? They fell asleep. Then He would wake them up and they would fall asleep again. Now Jesus was understanding, lots of stress going on, I expect. But when Jesus needed His friends, on the night before He was killed, His friends were not there for Him. None of them stayed awake, none of them prayed. One of them, we know, just in all this, one of those men betrayed Him, Judas. One of them denied Him, Peter. The rest of them, Peter included in this, the rest of them ran away. They fled, even though just a little bit before they said, even if we have to die with you, we will never forsake you. Peter said it. They all said, yes, us too. And they bailed. They ran. They were scared. And so if we look at all this, we can ask the same question we've been asking about Job. Where are Jesus' friends when He needs them? Nowhere. Nowhere. Now, let's move on to Solomon. We've been looking at Solomon on Sunday mornings. Lots of important things there. God gave Solomon great wisdom. And in the great wisdom that God gave to Solomon, Solomon wrote about and compiled parables and bits of wisdom about friendship and what it means to be a friend. Part of me says that he was drawn to this because I doubt Solomon had very many friends. He had lots of wives. That wasn't helpful. He had lots of girlfriends, concubines. That wasn't helpful. I expect it wasn't quite the tight, close-knit, wonderful family because Solomon didn't even grow up in one of those. David's house was a mess, right? So he wrote these things, I think, because it was something that he needed. This is what Proverbs 17:17 says. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A friend loves at all times. A brother is born for adversity. And I take that to mean to share the adversity with you. We're going to go through this together, man. We can do this. Proverbs 18:24. Proverbs 18:24. A man of many companions may come to ruin. Hey, listen, you can have lots of friends or acquaintances or companions. You can have a lot of friends. You can have 1,000 friends on your Facebook account. Well, yay you. But where are those friends going to be when they need you? They'll go, like, my life is falling apart. And then they hit the like button. You like it? That my life is falling apart? Isn't that just the craziest stuff to me? I don't get it. Man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Closer than a brother. I don't talk about my brother very much. My brother is awesome. My best buddy growing up, best friend now. I mean, brother. He is a true brother. But man, you know what? If I ever need something, my brother has no capability of helping me in any way unless he wants to jump on an airplane and fly 1,500 miles. But there are men in this room that I can count on in a second. That's the friend that sticks closer than a brother. My brother would if he could. But that's a good feeling, a fabulous feeling. It gives you confidence, and it helps you to relax and to feel easy in your life no matter what it is. And this is the point of the proverb. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And that is a blessing to have. Proverbs 27 and verse 6. Proverbs 27 and verse 6. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. You know, somebody that I don't know, or in this case, an enemy, yeah, you can say nice things, but I'm not going to really trust you or believe what you have to say. But if I am close enough to a brother that is a real, true friend, he can tell me, hey, attaboy, Barry, you're doing great, or talk to me when he thinks that I'm not doing well, or when I am sinning and I need to repent, or point something out in me that's deficient or wrong or sinful, and if I'm close to this person, will be able to hear it because I know their heart. They mean well. And I won't want to hit him. I'll listen to him. That's the kind of friend. That's the kind of friend. Friends can talk about anything. I think friends need to talk about more things. Even wounds. Proverbs 27:17. Most people have heard this, maybe didn't even know it was in the Bible. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. My friends keep me sharp. My friends keep me on it, keep a good edge in my life. My friends look after me. My friends, and I need to be a friend like that. I need to look after the people, to help, especially the men in my life, grow and become men of God. We help each other in this. If that's not what our band of brothers is for, and our mission and ministry teams, if that's not what we're for, I don't know what we're doing, because we're not doing it right. We are there to help one another, keep each other sharp and active and working and encourage. So you can see there that Solomon had a lot to say about being that good, true friend, not that fly-by-night companion that doesn't care. We need to care. The prophet Amos wrote, "Can two walk together except they be in agreement?" Knowing what does it take to have that one good friend. We need to have in common the most important things in life. We may not see eye to eye on every point of Scripture. We may not see eye to eye on anything in sports or anything in politics. I mean, I even had Democrat friends. Well, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, now no one's going to listen to me anymore. The point is, in agreement. If you love Jesus, you and I can be friends, close friends. We can work on the other stuff. If you are in Christ, we can be the best of friends, because we would be what? Brothers. So, when we start looking at friends, we need to see just how needed how needed they are. Now, I guess second only to Jesus, the Apostle Paul had the very best definition of what a true friend, a real true friend, should be and could be. And of course, he's going to show that the Lord is our truest friend. In Romans chapter 5, verses 7 and 8, Paul wrote this, "For scarcely will a righteous man die for..." Let me read that again. "For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet perhaps for a good man someone might even dare to die. But God demonstrates His love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." God didn't send Jesus into my life or give Jesus to die for my sins when I was a good boy and when I had it all down and when I was perfect in my behavior and in my mind and in my words and had all my little ducks in a row. God wasn't going to give me that gift. He gave me that gift when I was at my worst because He wanted the best for me. He gave His best gift for the worst guy. Amazing to me. That's why I'm saying God is my friend. That's why Jesus is my friend. Because God gave His Son when I was at my sinful worst. All right, let's finish with this. Go back to Job 42. And as we look at this, I want Job, actually it's really God, let God have the last word in this about friendship. Later on, and we'll cover some of this in detail in a while, but after God answered all of Job's questions and cries and accusations, basically said, "Listen, sit down, now I'm going to start talking." And God did a lot of talking there at the end of the book of Job. So after God answered Job and set him straight on all this, God talked to those three friends. This is what God said. "I am angry." This is 42, starting in verse 7. "After the Lord had said these things to Job, He said to Eliphaz the Temanite, 'I am angry with you and your two friends because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So now take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my servant Job and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves.'" Meaning that was a sin offering right there. Sin offering, meaning you have sinned against this man. All right? "My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you according to your folly." You go there and you make a sacrifice because you've done him wrong. And he will pray for you, and I won't punish you. Wow. You think those guys were scared? I bet you they were. And they should have been frightened, fearful of God to judge him in that way. And so God gave, now get this, God gave Job an important lesson here to remember too. And what was the lesson that God gave to Job here? This is for you and I. Your friends and your family may not be perfect. They may not tell you what's right all the time. And you may think that they don't have your best at heart. And that may be true, but probably is not as much as you think. But no matter how messed up your family is or how rocky your friendships can be with certain people, if that is true about you in your life, if that is true, they are still your friends. And they are still your family. And you owe them love. And you owe them the benefit of the doubt. And you owe them forgiveness. You owe them friendship. Even if it doesn't seem like it's a two-way friendship, you still are responsible to be their friend, their true friend. And so you need to pray for them like Job prayed for men he was probably pretty mad at. He prayed for them. He forgave them. I expect that he would try to understand them because he understood the way people thought in their community and in their day. 42, starting in verse 10, "After Job prayed for his friends, the Lord made him prosperous again and gave him twice as much as he had before. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him in his house. They comforted and consoled him." They learned their lessons too. We need to be friends. We need friends, and we need to be better friends. I think it'd be good to make a vow or a covenant that we in this church will be friends, not just friendly, friends, to be there, to take the initiative in friendship that are like the friendship that Jesus gives us through his Father, right? If we can help you in any way, we offer you the opportunity to let us know what that need is, and we'll help you. Let's stand and sing, and please come see me.